everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part 2 of our colour along. So we're going to be continuing with this page today, so I'll go ahead and zoom you in and we'll get started. Okay, so first going in with blush pink, I'm going to make a start on this roof here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use light pressure and do a base coat on this sort of ice cream section. And up here too. Then taking Baker Millet Pink, we're going to add some shadow in. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and go along these edges here and darken these up. And we'll do the same for the drip. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift the pressure off and bring the colour a little bit further down just to help blend that out. And the same for this part. Then going back in with blush pink, I'm going to use normal pressure this time and take it over where we just did the blend. And then bring this colour using normal pressure right the way down to the bottom. And we'll do the same for this section, so normal pressure, fill it all in. Next, taking pastel blue, I'm just going to use light pressure and go ahead and fill in these sort of decorative sections on here. And then taking cloud blue, I'm going to add some shadows in. So I'm going to go ahead and use normal pressure here up against this roof. And then lift the pressure off as you come towards the centre. And again here we'll do normal pressure and then lift off the pressure again as you come towards the middle. Here we'll go ahead and darken up the top section, so I'll just run normal pressure all the way along the top line. And then again, just lift the pressure off to blend that down slightly. And for these little balls, we'll darken up the right hand side. So just normal pressure and then lift off as you come towards the middle. Then going back in with pastel blue, I'm going to go over our shadow blend with normal pressure and just leave the lightest patch in the middle. For this, I'm just going to go over where we did the lighter pressure. And again, just leave the lightest bit right at the bottom. For these circles, I'll just take it over and just leave a little tiny highlight in the top left-hand side. And I think we'll do the roof to match. So I'm going to go in with pastel blue and I'm just going to do a base coat all over. I'm going to go over the dots as well. Then taking cloud blue, we'll add some shadow in. So this time I'm going to add the shadow to the actual drip. So I'm going to use normal pressure and go along the edge of the drips. And then again, I'm just going to lift the pressure off to blend that out and just take the colour a little bit higher up. Then back in with pastel blue, normal pressure, go over our blend. And then I'm going to take this a little bit further up using normal pressure. And then again, I'm just going to use light pressure right at this top piece here, just so that's the lightest part. Then take in pigeon blue. I'm going to use normal pressure and fill in all of these little sprinkles on the top. Okay, and next we're going to make a start on this roof. So I'm going to do this one purple. So I'm going to go in with ultramarine violet and I'm going to go ahead and do a light coat on the top section here. So just light pressure. And we'll do the little chimney to match. So I'll just do light pressure and add that colour on there. And then going in with violet, which is a little bit darker, we're going to add some shadows. So this top section here, I'm just going to go where the roof, where the chimney top joins, just normal pressure, and then lift off the pressure as you go about halfway up the chimney. For the drips, I'm just going to darken up the very bottom section of each drip using normal pressure. And then again, just lift the pressure off as you come up to blend that out. And then for this roof section, I'm going to use normal pressure down here, fill that in and that side. And then I'm just going to start to lift the pressure off and bring that colour a little bit further up just to blend it out. And the same for this side. And then back in with ultramarine violet. This time I'm just going to use normal pressure and I'm going to take it over the blend and fill in the rest of the little chimney. Okay, and that's quite a similar colour. So what I'm going to do is gradually get lighter. So here where we've done our light pressure, I'm just going to use normal pressure, go over that. And then again, just start to lift the pressure off as you come a little bit further up the roof. So we'll just get gradually lighter. Do the same over here. So normal pressure. And then lighter pressure as you come up the roof. So then swapping over to Parma Violet, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this top piece using normal pressure and see how this looks. Okay, that's much better. You can see the difference in colours there. So I'm going to use normal pressure now and fill in the rest of the roof. And then going back in with violet, I'm just going to use normal pressure and fill in all this underneath section here so that it's darker than the top. Okay guys, so that's how the house is looking so far, and I want to move on to a different section now. So we're going to make a start on this sort of grass area here. So I'm going to go in with spring green, which is a nice light green colour, and I'm just going to use light pressure to fill in a section of the grass. And we'll go ahead and do the same over here so that it all matches. So just light pressure again. And then taking dark green, we're going to add some shadow to this. So what I want to do is make shadows underneath like these objects on the grass. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and just go right underneath the object. And then what I'll do is start to lift the pressure off to blend that out. And it will just cast a little bit of a shadow underneath the object. So I'll do the same for this one. So just normal pressure right underneath. And then again, just lift off the pressure to blend that out. So I'll just do some normal pressure to start with. We'll go under here. And then again, I'll just go back over and just use light pressure to blend this out for all of our shadows. And we'll do the same for this side. So I'll go ahead and use normal pressure and mark out the shadows. And then again, we'll just use some lighter pressure to blend that out. Then taking pea green, what I'm going to do is use normal pressure and go over these shadows to really help blend them in. And I'm also going to make them slightly bigger, so like there I'm going to join that together, but I'm still just using normal pressure. So it's just going to blend our shadows and just give us a bit more of a different colour as well. And now what I'm going to do is go back over and just use lighter pressure, and again just sort of blend around the edges where we've left this darker colour, so it blends out easier with the next colour. And then back in with spring green. So I'm going to use normal pressure this time and go ahead and take it over all the colours that we've done. And just blend everything together nicely. So we'll go back in with pea green and just use normal pressure to go over our shadows. And then again, we're just going to lift the pressure off so that we can blend it out a bit easier. And then back in with spring green and normal pressure to fill it in completely. Then going back in with spring green, I'm going to do this bit the same. I was going to do it differently, but I quite like the way this is looking. So I'm going to use spring green to do a light base coat in between these stones. Then going back in with dark green, I'm going to use normal pressure and do a line under each of the rocks. And then going back in with pea green, I'm just going to use normal pressure again just underneath these because we haven't got a lot of space to blend this colour out. So I'll just go straight underneath where we added the dark green. And then going back in with spring green, I'll just use normal pressure this time and fill in around all the stones. Then taking pink, I'm going to make a start on these stones. I'm going to make them look a little bit like gumdrops or like colourful sweeties. So I'm just going to use normal pressure on the right hand side and then lift the pressure off as you come over to the other side, and just leave a little bit of lighter pressure right at the edge. And what I'm going to do is just do this for a few of these, and we'll add some different colours in. So just normal pressure here and then lift off as you come over. The smaller ones I'll just fill in completely with normal pressure. Then going in with Parma Violet, I'm going to do the same for a few more of these little stepping stones. So again, just normal pressure on this side and lift off as you come across. And then lastly, taking cornflower blue, I'm going to do the same for the rest of these that are left. Then taking a white gel pen, I'm just going to go over the little highlights just to make them a little bit brighter. So the small ones I'll just add a little dot to. And again, in these bigger ones where we've left the really light colour at the edge, I'm just going to add a little highlight to these. And then taking magenta, we're going to make a start on these little like almost like candy cane. So this is quite a dark pink. So I'm going to go ahead and use normal pressure and fill in every other section. And we'll do the same for all of these little candy canes. And then going in with 50% cool grey, I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow to our white section. So I'm just going to use light pressure and just sort of darken up half of each section. But I'm only using light pressure because I don't want it to be too dark. And again, I'll do the same for all of these. Then going in with rose red, I'm going to make a start on these little, they also look like gumdrops. So I'm going to go in with light pressure and do a base coat on the bottom piece. And this one over here. And then I'm going to use normal pressure to darken up this bottom edge and the right hand side. And then again, I'll just lift the pressure off as you come towards the middle. We'll do the same for this one. Then going back in with pink, I'm going to use normal pressure and just take it over where we left the lighter pressure, just to blend that out and keep it lighter on this side. And the same for this one. Then going in with lavender, we're going to do the same for these two. So just light pressure and add a base coat in here. Same for this one. And then taking Parma Violet, we're going to use this to add some shadows in. So again, I'm just going to darken up this side here. So normal pressure along here. And then I'll start to lift the pressure off here about halfway across the suite. And we'll do the same for this one. And then back in with lavender, I'm going to use normal pressure, take it over the blend and fill in the other section of the suite. Okay, and we've got two more the same over here. So I'm going to do this big one in the pink colour. So I'm going to go in with rose red and just use light pressure to do a base coat. And then again, I'll just use normal pressure to darken up the right hand side and start to lift off as you come towards the middle. Back in with pink and normal pressure, take it over the blend and fill in the rest of the sweetie. And then back in with lavender for this one, light pressure, fill this in. And then I'm swapping back to Parma Violet, normal pressure on this side, darken this up. And I'll take it along the top here as well, normal pressure. And then again, I'll just start to lift the pressure off to blend that out. Back in with lavender, normal pressure, fill this in. Then taking light peach, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this top section here. So I'm just going to use light pressure and fill in of these little tops. And then using peach, I'm going to add some shadow to that. So again, we're going to focus the shadow on the right hand side. So along this edge, I'm going to use normal pressure, darken that up, and then just start to lift the pressure off as you come halfway across the top. And I'll do the same for all of these. Okay, and I'm going to leave that like that because that is quite light already. So if I add another coat to it, it'll be too similar. So I'm going to leave it with just the light pressure on. And then taking a white gel pen, we're going to add some highlights. So what I want to do is go over these sort of dots that have been put in here. And I'll add one, just like a curved one, to the edge of these balls. Okay, and then going in with lemon yellow, I'm going to make a start on this lollipop here. So I'm just going to use light pressure and fill in these sections. And then taking canary yellow, we're going to add some shadow in. So I'm going to use normal pressure right under this sort of joining line here. And then again, lift the pressure off. And this top bit will just darken up the right hand side with normal pressure and then lift off in the middle. Go back in with lemon yellow, use normal pressure to fill that in. And then taking cadmium orange deep, I'm going to use normal pressure and go ahead and fill in the little stripe on here. And then taking burnt ochre, I'm going to do the lollipop stick. So I'm just going to use light pressure, fill it in. And then right underneath here, I'm going to use normal pressure to darken that up, and normal pressure at the bottom where it joins the floor. Then we'll go in with our white pencil and just go over the centerpiece to make that a bit lighter. And back in with the gel pen, I'm just going to do a highlight, like a curved line on that edge there. Then taking Baker Miller Pink, we're going to make a start on this lollipop. So again, I'll just use light pressure and fill in the top section and the bottom section. Then for our shadows, we'll use Rose Red. I'm going to use light pressure because this is quite a dark colour. Actually, it looks like it'll be okay. So I'll use normal pressure on the right hand side and then again lift off as you come towards the middle. Same for the top. Then back in with Baker Miller Pink. Normal pressure, blend that all out. And then for this middle strip, we're going to use Ocean Green. and fill in the top strip using normal pressure. And then parrot green and normal pressure to fill in this section underneath. And then back in with burnt ochre. I'm going to use light pressure again to fill in the stick, and then normal pressure at the bottom and the top. Back in with the white pencil to blend that out, and then back in with the gel pen to add a highlight. Then take in pigeon blue. I'm going to go ahead and fill in this bottom section here, and I'm just going to use normal pressure because I want it to be quite dark blue. And then take in burnt umber, slightly darker brown. I'm going to fill in this top section using normal pressure. And then swapping back to burnt ochre, we'll do the stick. So light pressure, and then more harder pressure there and at the bottom. Back in with the white pencil to blend that out. And then for this one, I'm going to use the white gel pen to go over the little dots that were already on here, just to make these stand out again. And we'll add a little highlight to this corner here. Okay, so next we've got some lollipops to do. So I'm going to go in with lemon yellow, and I'm going to use light pressure and do a base coat on this section here. And then for this one, I'm going to use it on the top section. So light pressure, fill in the top. Then going back in with canary yellow. This one I'm going to darken up under here where the drip is. So normal pressure along there. And then again, just lift off the pressure as you come down. This one I'm going to darken up the right hand side. So normal pressure along here, and then lift off the pressure as you come towards the middle. And then back in with lemon yellow, normal pressure, and fill that in. Take it over the blend as well. And then going back in with Baker Miller Pink, I'm going to do light pressure and add a base coat to this top section here. And the bottom section over here. And then taking rose red, I'm going to add some shadow. So this one I'm going to darken up on the right hand side, normal pressure, and then just start to lift the pressure off to blend that out. And we'll do the same for this one. So we'll darken up this edge and along this bottom half here with normal pressure. And then again, we'll start to lift the pressure off to blend this out. Back in with Baker Miller Pink, normal pressure, blend that all together. And then again with burnt ochre, we're going to do the sticks. We might as well do all the sticks whilst we're here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do light pressure and then more pressure at the top and the bottom of each stick. and then back in with the white to blend it out. And then back in with the white gel pen to add some highlights to the lollies. So just take it along that side, and I've made it slightly curved again, and I'll do the same for this yellow one. We'll add a little bit to the pink section as well, and a little bit to the white section. Then taking parrot green, we're going to make a start on this one. So I'm going to use normal pressure and fill in this top section here. And then using ocean green, we're going to use normal pressure to fill in the bottom piece. Then for this one, I'm going to go in with rose red, and I'm just going to use normal pressure and fill in a few of these little sections. Then taking cornflower blue, we're going to do a few more sections. So again, just normal pressure and fill this in. And then taking lemon yellow, I'm going to fill in the rest of the sections using normal pressure. Then going back in with a white gel pen, I'm going to add a little highlight to the top here. And go over the little dots on here. We'll add a little highlight on here. Okay guys, so that's our little grassy section done. So I think we're going to move on now to these donuts in the background. So going back in with beige, I'm going to use light pressure and do a base coat on this back part of the donut. And then taking goldenrod, I'm going to add some shadows in. So I'm going to start with normal pressure and go ahead and follow the bottom line and take it all the way around the edge of the icing. Just to give it a bit of a shadow. And here as well where it joins to the cupcake. And then I'll just lift the pressure off and start to blend this colour out. And then back in with beige, normal pressure, and fill this all in. And then going back in with cornflower blue, I'm going to use light pressure and do a base coat on the icing. And then taking pigeon blue, I'm going to add some shadows in. So this section here, I'm going to darken up completely. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and go over this side where it would be in shadow. Take it along the cupcake. and we'll add some shadow to this bottom edge, so just normal pressure along here. And then again, we'll just start to lift the pressure out so that we can blend this colour into the lighter blue. And the same over here. Then back in with cornflower blue, normal pressure, and fill this in, blend everything together. And then I'm going to go back in with a white gel pen and just go over these little black lines that are there, the sprinkles. Next, taking burnt ochre, we're going to make a start on the cupcake. So I'm going to do its case in like a brown colour to make it look like it's a chocolate muffin. So I'm just going to use light pressure and fill in its little case. And then swap into burnt umber, we'll add some shadow in. So I'm going to use normal pressure along the bottom here where it joins to the floor. And then start to lift the pressure off as you come up the cupcake. And we'll do some normal pressure on this side here, and then again start to lift the pressure off as it comes towards the middle. Go back in with burnt ochre and normal pressure, take it over the blend that we've just done, make sure that looks nice. And then go ahead and fill in the rest of the wrapper. Next, taking ultramarine violet, we're going to make a start on the icing. So again, I'm just going to use light pressure and add this colour in. And then taking cobalt violet, which is a bit darker, we're going to add some shadows in. So I'm going to start by adding a shadow here from the house, so just normal pressure along there, and then again start to lift the pressure off to blend that colour out. I'm going to fill in this bottom section here completely because that would be darker, and then I'm going to do normal pressure under each line, and again lift the pressure off to blend that down. We'll go back in with ultramarine violet and we'll use normal pressure and take it over where we've just done the blend. And then again, I'm just going to lift the pressure off to help blend that out. Then going in with lilac, which is a much lighter colour, we're going to go ahead and fill in the very edge piece using normal pressure. Okay, and I think we'll make a start on this window next because we've kind of left that out. So I'm going to go in with lemon yellow so that it matches the icing on the top. And I'm just going to use light pressure and go ahead and add a base coat to this. Then taking canary yellow, we'll add some shadow in. So I'm going to use normal pressure and add a bit of darkness to the bottom of each of these little window sections, and I'll just do some here and here just to add a bit of shadow there. And then for each of these little sort of petals, I'm just going to do normal pressure at the edge where it meets the window all the way around. And then I'm just going to lift the pressure off to blend that up each little section. And the same here and here. Okay, that's looking quite nice, and we've got quite a good sort of shadow and lightness, so I'm going to leave that as it is, and we're going to move on to these lollipops here. Okay, so going in with Parma Violet, we're going to make a start on this one. I'm just going to fill in this line in the middle using normal pressure, and then taking Cornflower Blue, I'm going to do the line below. Again, just normal pressure. Then taking Canary Yellow, I'm going to use normal pressure and fill in the top and the bottom section. And then taking Blush Pink, I'm going to make a start on this one. So I want the lightest colour to be in the middle, so I'm going to use normal pressure here and start to take this around the swirl. And then here I'm just going to start to lift the pressure off. Then taking Pink, I'm going to use normal pressure, take it over the blend, and then fill this in a little bit further. I think we'll take it all the way around to the top, just using normal pressure. And then we'll go in with Baker Miller Pink to fill in the outside section. So again, just normal pressure for this. Then back in with our gel pen, I'm just going to add some highlights to these lollipops. So I'm just going to take this line around this edge and make it like a curve, and the same for this one. And then taking Parrot Green, we're going to make a start on this door. So again, I'm just going to use light pressure and add a base coat to the door itself. And then going in with Ocean Green, we're going to add some shadow in. So I'll do the same as what I did for the other window, and I'll do normal pressure where it joins to the door, and then just lift the pressure off as it comes up each section. And I'll do that all the way around. Then we'll add some shadow underneath here, so normal pressure under there, and then again lift the pressure off to blend the colour down, and we'll do the same where it joins to the floor, so normal pressure and then lift off as you come towards the middle. We'll add some shadow here, so normal pressure, and then again lift off the pressure to blend it out. And for these side sections, we'll go ahead and use normal pressure on each edge, and then again we'll lift the pressure off as it comes towards the middle. And then going back in with Parrot Green, I'm going to use normal pressure and fill in this bottom section here. That's looking quite nice. We've got quite a good shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest using normal pressure. And we'll do these little edges as well. Okay, moving on to this one, we're going to do this one pink. So I'm going to go in with pink, and again just use light pressure to add our base colour in. And then going in with rose red, we'll add some shadow. So I think I'm going to do a shadow where it joins to the window, so normal pressure along there, and then again lift the pressure off to blend that out. We'll do some normal pressure on each of these joints, and in the middle here just do like a little cross in the middle, and then again I'm just going to lift the pressure off to blend that out. And then back in with pink and normal pressure, fill that all in. And then we've just got this one to do, and I think we should do this one purple. So I'll use lavender and go ahead and do a light base coat on here. Then take in ultramarine violet, we'll add some shadow in. So I think I'm just going to fill in the bottom section because that would be a bit darker. So just normal pressure, and we'll do some normal pressure at the bottom of each section. And then again, I'm just going to lift the pressure off to blend that up. And back in with lavender, normal pressure, blend that all together. Okay, so we're going to make a start on these donuts now. So I'm going to go back in with beige and go ahead and do a base coat on the actual donut section. So again, just light pressure, fill these in. And then back in with goldenrod, we're going to add some shadows. So again, I'm going to use normal pressure down here where it joins to the floor to darken that up. And I'll use normal pressure again and take it around the edge of the icing. And then again, we're just going to lift the pressure off to start blending this out. And then going back in with beige, normal pressure, and fill this all in, blend it all together. And then going back in with lemon yellow, I'm going to make this one yellow icing. So I'm going to do light pressure and add a base coat to this section. Then taking canary yellow, we'll add some shadow in. So I'm going to use normal pressure down here where it joins to the floor, and then start to lift the pressure off as you come up the donut. And then back in with lemon yellow, normal pressure this time. Fill this in, take it over the blend. And then this one, I think we're going to do blue to match the other one that we did. So I'll go in with cornflower blue, and again just do a light base coat on the icing. Then back in with pigeon blue. I'm going to use normal pressure, take it along the line where it joins to the floor, and then here where this donut would cast a bit of a shadow. And then again, I'm just going to start to lift the pressure off to blend this out. And the same down here. And then back in with cornflower blue, normal pressure, and fill this in properly. And then I'm going to go back in with the white gel pen, and again I'm going to go over these little sprinkle lines. Okay guys, that's how we're looking so far. So I think we've made quite a lot of progress here. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you have all enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video.